Welcome to the Lowdown. I'm your host, Dob Low, and thank God we're back, baby. Hallelujah. Thank God we're back. Some mornings I wake up, I'm sitting there, I'm getting the show ready, listening to a couple of tunes, and it's like, I get that feeling. I don't know how to explain that feeling. I never really had that feeling a lot until the last year, but kind of like you get a set of goosebumps down your spine and your gut flips over and you just know, or maybe you don't know, but it seems like God's patting you on the back a little bit. It feels congratulatory, but it also feels motivational. So I had that this morning. I'm sitting there drinking a cup of worm dirt, cup of motor oil. Guys, while we're talking about coffee, I'll tell you something funny. So I told you guys originally about my surgery in my arm, and my arm is doing so good. It does so many things now that we just never foreseen, and some of the things that it can do now, they have told me are anatomically not possible, but it is doing it, right? So that's cool, but it's, I told you guys, it's a little goofy. So yesterday, I took the dogs, my wife, drove down to Nashville. I had a guitar trade. And so I met the guy at Starbucks, right? It was through Marketplace. I love Marketplace. There's no taxes on any of that. And so I met the guy at Starbucks. We did our trade. I went inside and got me a cup of worm dirt. And I get back in the car and we hit the road. Well, I'm driving down the road and I've got my coffee, traffic's bumper to bumper. We're running 80 miles an hour and we're coming to a dead stop. 80 miles an hour, coming to a dead stop. So it's already kind of stressful, you know. Well, out of nowhere, my arm just decides to have a full muscle spasm, a twitch. I don't know what you want to call it. Either way, I took a coffee shower. And I think most of my vehicle took a coffee shower. It was scalding hot, so that was fun. But look, man, I can't be mad. My arm is doing things that I never thought it could do. And yeah, but, you know, it's not perfect. Sometimes it gets a little twitchy. It gets a little crazy on me. So I thought you guys might enjoy that. And so I've got a Mark Twain quote that I tell everybody all the time. My wife's probably heard it 77 times. I think she's tired of hearing it. But it's about dogs. I love dogs. And the Mark Twain quote says this: if you take a starving dog and you make him prosperous, he will not bite you. And that is the key difference between a dog and a man. I love that. You don't know how many people I've helped out in life, and I'm sure you all have too. And they turn around and bite your hand after you done helped them, after you done fed them and got them healthy again. My dogs ain't ever done that. They really haven't. And especially you find a dog in a rough situation and you take that thing in and you give it a home. Listen, there's nothing more loyal on this planet. So I know not everybody loves dogs, but man, we got to give them credit for being loyal anyways. All right, moving on. I wrote down on my notebook here, good comedy is risky. Well, I think yesterday should prove that, right, guys? My jokes yesterday, that's good comedy. It don't get no better. Seriously, though, if you want some good comedy, you should go check out what Shane Gillis did on the ESPYs yesterday. Look, it's not going to be for everybody. It's intentionally there to get a rise out of you. And a lot of times I like comedy like that. I like it to be a little edgy, right? It makes you think about the things that you try not to think about, but maybe be able to laugh at them. Or sometimes it makes you think about things that you feel very passionate about, and it feels like an attack on those things. That's okay, too. You can still laugh at that. That doesn't have to change your mind. Right? Some things are funny. I like to laugh at everything. So that was just a little idea there. Good comedy is risky, guys. Don't be mad at somebody because they take a risk with a joke. Ooh, another thought that I had that I wrote down here. I actually wrote this down yesterday. Quality is the enemy of capitalism. 100% a fact. A couple little points there on that. So I bought a Yeti in 2015. It was before all the Orcas and Arctics and all the different kinds of other coolers had come out. And yes, I feel like a big dummy for spending that much money on a cooler now because all the other ones came out and they're just as good for half the price. But I didn't know they were going to do that, so I bought a freaking Yeti. But let me tell you about this Yeti. I've never, ever, ever needed another cooler. I have set it outside for the last 5 years, and this thing is just battle-tested tough. So I don't have to go buy another cooler, which is what led me to buying the Yeti in the first place, is I had bought 17 coolers, and they would get waterlogged or the lid would fall off. Blase, blase, blase. So, because I bought something that was very good in quality, I don't have to go buy new coolers. Now, that capitalist market of always needing another thing doesn't affect me on that. And we see what happens when there's no quality control with stuff like home appliances, stuff like your heating and air units, stuff like vehicles. Sometimes it very much so feels like it's intentionally meant to break at a certain time. I genuinely think it is. I do not think it's a random chance that things break down at the exact same time, exact same model numbers. I almost feel like they're engineered that way. So I know financially times are tough, but if you can go without for an extra month without something and save up, get what is good. That way you don't have to spend time 2 years from now going to get it again. Maybe you get 10 years out of it instead of 2 years. And you're not going to save money up front, but you're going to save exponentially more money down the road. Right? And this capitalist market we've created here in America, where you always need the new thing, the best thing. The new thing's not always the best thing. So don't fall into that. Buy good items, do your research, spend your money accordingly, and I think you could save yourself a lot of headache. Now look, I'm going to wear Goodwill t-shirts because it's kind of hard to make a t-shirt that much better than another t-shirt. And listen, over my dead body am I buying a $40 t-shirt. That's the wildest idea ever. I'll just go without a shirt at that point. $40 t-shirts. Always makes me so mad. Every time I see a cool t-shirt and I look at the tag and it says $40, I just want to burn it. I hate it. It's a capitalist market, guys. There's some great things that come out of it. There's some things that aren't so good. Okay, moving on. We've got a couple little news topics here. Okay. Looks like at the Canadian-American border, 5 Iranian nationals were caught coming through. And I think it goes without saying, after everything that's happened with Iran, they are not our friends. These people weren't coming down here to come to your birthday party. And that's a little sketchy, right? I mean, it didn't require a whole lot of people inside the country to pull off something like 9/11. And I don't care what your feelings are. I get so tired of the daggone conspiracy over 9/11. Guys, it happened either way. You're never going to get the truth about it. There's not enough momentum behind that to push that into getting the truth. Let it go. Be respectful to the people who dealt with that, who lost their lives. So when I hear 5 Iranians are trying to come into the country, my mind automatically goes to a place like that, right? We know these people, their entire military plan is to blow stuff up. It doesn't take 100 guys to set a bomb. Now, these people got caught. I'm not trying to fearmonger here. But what I'm getting at, I guess I should just get to my point, is, am I super impressed with the job Trump has done? No. But one of the very, very main problems we were dealing with was immigration. And at least there has been a crackdown on that. Man, that's what the whole immigration problem was. It's not that a rural Mexican farmer wanted to come here and farm. It's that we had no idea who was trying to come here and do what. And it's simply not acceptable from a national security standpoint. So, I'm glad these people were caught. I'm glad they were apprehended. Let's keep on that drive. Let's keep on the gas pedal on that. We need to protect our borders. We need to protect our people. Okay, moving on. Japan, as of this morning, this came out around 5 this morning. I don't know what time that would be in Japan. I should have done my research there, so that's my fault. They sounded the alarm that they have a very, very high rising suspicion that powers are shifting and China, Russia, North Korea are forming the greatest alliance and threat to the world, maybe ever. Japan could be a little bit nervous anyways because they're right there and they're not nearly as large. I'm not entirely sure what made them sound that alarm. I'm giving you that news, so maybe you can go find that out. And if not, I'll try to push out when I find out, like I always tell you. When I find out more, I'm going to push it out to the show. But I did think that was interesting, right? Because Japan is kind of a cultural superpower. They're not a military superpower. They are a cultural one. I think that they have a very impressive culture. And I think they do understand things intrinsically just as well as anyone else. So I thought that was interesting. I think that's something we pay attention to because they're a lot closer to all of those countries than we are. We have an ocean between us. They really don't. They're right there. Okay, guys, that's the end of our news today. I got a couple of little shout outs I wanted to throw out. One, a podcast you all should check out, and it's it's American as far as I'm concerned. Mike Rowe, the guy who used to do Dirty Jobs, has a great podcast. It's called The Way I Heard It. If you all want to listen to something, if you've got a teenager who's trying to figure out what they want to go do in life, if you're trying to figure out what you want to do in life, he's got all kinds of episodes. He's going to talk about dirty jobs. He's going to talk about America. And that guy has a lot of information. That's a pretty smart dude. Check him out. Check out that show. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And song of the day is Little by Little by Susan Tedeschi. Look, I think it's awesome when there's a woman that does rock and roll, that does the blues. It always impresses me. She does it better than anyone, in my opinion. Maybe other than Janis Joplin or something, but she's right up there. Check that out, Little by Little, Susan Tedeschi, and it might lead you into her new band, the Tedeschi Trucks Band. All right, guys, I love you. Go kick some tail, and let's get after it.